A famous comedian, a terminal diagnosis, a movie that was sold as a comedy and is mostly about dying. Did this movie deserve better, or does it just suck? Welcome back to Does It Suck on the Snobs channel, where we watch, review, and dig into movies that time forgot, that bombed at the box office, or that you were not just sure whether or not to defend at a dinner party. I am Mick Manhattan. Today we're talking about the Judd Apatow movie that opened #1 at the box office and still somehow lost money. This is Funny People. A genuine thank you to our Patreon member Bronson Wright-Wolfe for requesting this one for review. Funny People was released in July 2009, written and directed by Judd Apatow, distributed by Universal Pictures with financing split between Universal, Sony, and Relativity Media. Adam Sandler plays George Simmons, a wealthy comedian turned movie star who is privately miserable about his career. He is diagnosed with leukemia and given an experimental treatment with only 8% chance of a success rate. Believing he is dying, he returns to stand-up and takes a struggling young comic under his wing. Seth Rogen plays Ira White, the aspiring comedian George mentors. The supporting cast is stacked: Leslie Mann, Eric Bana, Jonah Hill, Jason Schwartzman, with early appearances from Aubrey Plaza and Aziz Ansari. This is a comedy ensemble being asked to carry something much heavier than comedy. Funny People keep swinging between raunchy stand-up bits and an unflinching meditation on mortality and regret. Some critics called that ambition. Others called it a movie that could not decide what it wanted to be. This was a $75 million bet, financed roughly 50% by Relativity, 25% by Universal, and 25% by Sony. The day before the film opened, Universal's leadership gave Apatow final cut and signed him to a 3-picture deal. A massive show of confidence after Knocked Up and Superbad. Apatow has talked openly about how personal this film was, drawing on his own years inside the world of stand-up comedy. This was never meant to be a straightforward studio comedy. It was his attempt at a real character drama dressed in comedy clothing. Universal executives reportedly pushed Apatow to trim the runtime before release. He largely held his ground. Within about 2 months of the film's underwhelming opening, the 2 Universal executives who greenlit the deal were both out of their jobs, with Funny People cited as a factor. Critics were fairly positive. About 69% on Rotten Tomatoes with over 200 reviews, praised as Apatow's most mature film at the time. But the audience popcorn meter sits around 40-50%, and the film earned a B- in Cinema Score, a grade that signals a real audience disappointment on opening night. Funny People opened #1 with about $22.7 million in its first week, the lowest opening weekend for any #1 film that entire year. It finished with roughly around $51 million domestically and $71 million worldwide, against a $75 million budget. It topped the box office and still lost money. That is an unusual kind of failure. Audiences expected an Adam Sandler comedy based on the marketing were caught off guard by the 2.5-hour drama about cancer, infidelity, and personal failure with jokes scattered throughout. This mismatch shaped almost everything about how this film landed in real time. Funny People came right after the massive success of Knocked Up and Superbad, and marked Apatow stretching into something more personal and dramatically ambitious. It is frequently grouped with his later film This Is 40, as one of his more divisive, less commercially successful passion projects. Revisits of the film tend to highlight Sandler's performance, widely considered one of his more genuinely dramatic and restrained performances. It's something that did not get its due at the time, overshadowed by confusion of what kind of movie this was supposed to be. Honestly, it does not suck, but it absolutely should have been a tighter version of itself. Adam Sandler is genuinely good here. He is restrained and believable in a way that his usual comedies rarely allow. But this film runs nearly 2.5 hours, and the back third drags badly once the story shifts to George trying to win back Leslie Mann's character. I've always enjoyed this film. It had a personal touch for me because when I lived in Los Angeles, I kind of saw a lot of the themes and a lot of what they were speaking on while I was working in the entertainment industry. It really spoke to me in a lot of ways, and I saw a lot of the connections and my own connections that I was building out there. So it was a movie that really resonated with me, but I can understand why most audiences might not take to it. I don't think it sucks, though. I think it's a very good dramedy if you can get into it on the level of like a Garden State or something like that. If you get a chance, check it out. I absolutely think you should. And that's my verdict. Strong performances, real ambition, way too much runtime, but drop your take in the comments. I'd love to hear it. I love when you share the impact that these movies have on you, especially the classic films and other ones as well. If you want to request a movie for Does It Suck the way Bronson Wright-Wolfe did, join us on Patreon. You can join up on our free tier where we have all of our updates and things like that, but we also have paid tiers as well that have more perks available. Thank you again to Bronson for supplying this one for a review. Make sure to follow us at the Snobs all over social media and at Letterboxd and Substack, where we do written reviews of these movies as well. And make sure to like, comment, and subscribe over on our YouTube channel as we build it out to try and reach more movie lovers just like you. We truly appreciate it. I'm Mick Manhattan with the Snobs, and I say thank you so much for watching, listening, and hanging out with us. Make sure you take care of yourself. That's important. Be kind, rewind, and I'll talk to you soon. Bye.
wrapping up my podcast.